Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Mirror Point, where reality is checking itself. So today, I want to be talking about beliefs again. Why do people feel a need to force others to believe what they believe? We see this from all different religions, um, from political groups, from ideologies, just ideas in general. People want to be not just understood, but agreed with. Is this really a way to peace? This need to be agreed with, this attachment to an expectation that we want to be agreed with all the time. Does this really promote peace? Does it promote coherence in society? Is it really healthy to have this kind of expectation? Um, so that's what I want to explore today. So we're going to be looking at the peace march that's going on with the Buddhist monks and the reaction that we're getting from other religious groups in this country. So we're going to check it out, man. We're going to go through it. I've got some clips to share. So let's just get into it. So let's check this out. This is what the Peace March is all about, pretty much. There was a on the DeKalb County Gov put out a little video um, regarding the march as it went through the city of Decatur in Georgia, I think, and yeah, and the effect that it's having, their reaction just from the common people. We'll start off with that.
On December 30th, people from near and far lined the streets, paused their routines, and looked twice to witness peace walking by.
There's so much chaos and divisiveness in our country that we face, and I think this is something that we need as a country to unite everyone. And just to see everybody come together has been just rewarding to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Nearly 24 Buddhist monks are on a 2,300-mile pilgrimage on foot, traveling from Fort Worth, Texas, to the White House in Washington, D.C., with plans to arrive in February.
It's been, so much negativity. I think it's just really important to just come out here and just not only feel, the peace from the movement, but also show peace.
Known as the Walk for Peace, this trek has captured national attention, with people across the country following their journey online, many hoping for a chance to see the monks in person. And for DeKalb County, Georgia, that journey made our community part of the path of peace, welcoming these unlikely celebrities.
All right, so these monks are promoting peace through a march through some of the southern states. What could be wrong with that? What's wrong with peace? What is really wrong with peace? What's wrong with that message? Well, the problem is it makes a lot of other religious people mad. It hurts their feelings. It's like one religious group getting more attention than another religious group. Is that fostering peace? Well, I think that what the monks are standing up for is very, very noble, virtuous. I think peace is needed in this country. I think there needs to be an expression for more unity and non-dualism in our society. But of course, we live in a very dualistic culture. And so you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be offended because one religious group is getting the attention today over them. And this is kind of where peace is sort of challenged. You know what I mean? You know, during this Walk for Peace event, this group of monks moved quietly through the city carrying signs of compassion and nonviolence. But what you're going to see, I'm going to share a clip, because as they walked, a Christian street preacher named Rashan followed behind them, urging them to abandon Buddhism and embrace Jesus. He warned bystanders not to follow the monks like goats. And he insisted that there was only one legitimate spiritual path. The monks did not argue back. They simply replied to him that each person has their own journey, and they continued walking. So this is interesting. This kind of highlights the problem with religious division and the duality in our culture, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share with you now that video so you can see for yourself exactly what I'm talking about here. And we'll let the tape roll.
He's the only way. You don't love him, you don't have Jesus. When you don't have Christ, it is. It's about Jesus. He's the only way. Is he the only way? The only truth and the only life. It does. Your soul is on the line, right? Your soul is on the line. Real walk in real. I'm talking about your soul. You are. When you do your chant, your little ritual, he's bringing you. And if your peace is not rooted in Christ, then it's false peace. And I love you enough to tell you that. I love you and your fellow monks to tell you that what you're doing is you're walking your way to hell, and I don't want that for you. No, it's not okay. We have to go to hell. God did. Hey, no. God didn't make you for hell. Wow, what love is that? We would love if no.
Exactly. If we go to hell, we made that choice.
That's not. I want you to get on the right way. Not let us go the way we are. If I didn't say anything.
Notice that this Christian will not even let the monk respond. And he's carrying a sign about judgment, going to hell. Those sort of messages aren't very peaceful, in my opinion. What do you think? Let me know. Who's really for peace? It seems like the Christian should be all for peace. And this seems to be religiously neutral. They're just walking for peace, right? Like I said, it seems like the Christians are just mad that they aren't the ones getting all the attention, that the Buddhists are getting the attention. And, you know, they may feel very heartfelt that by believing the wrong thing, God will be mad and will punish you and send you to hell. But not everyone believes in that bullshit. This is some very fear-based bullshit. First of all, you don't know the mind of God. All of these things are beliefs. They're faith-based. They're not very peaceful. They're very divisive. And you think that you're going to motivate people through fear as if that's effective in the long run. You're just going to create a bunch of hypocrites, because people are going to apparently show themselves as doing good works or virtuous actions or virtuous words. all based on fear. But it does nothing to actually plant a seed of true change in anyone's life. It's just fear-based bullshit, in my opinion. And it's a religion of duality. It's a religion of division, of dichotomy, of us versus them. That's not the root of peace. But let's continue, because this guy still presses the monk that he should stop what he's doing.
It'd be like you were in a burning house and I didn't say anything.
I got your message already.
I love you, and I'm gonna
I
be
love
here
you
every step of
seriously.
the way.
You know, he got your message already. So what else is there? Why are you browbeating him at this point? He got the message. He even said that I love you sincerely. What more do you want? These people want obedience. These people want agreement. They want cooperation. They want your mind to be one with theirs in this belief system. Instead of discussing it, instead of rationally talking about, why should I believe in your belief? No, just believe. Just believe. That's important to them.
I'm telling you, I love you, and
I love
I
you.
wish you well and happy and peace.
I want you to walk.
And I understand your message.
Hello, Von Eric.
And
Nice
we
to
have
see
our
you.
own journey. You
Okay.
have your own
And we're
journey.
gonna-
So let
I
us
look
walk
forward to
on
it.
each. Let us walk on each our own path. But at the end, we always come together.
No, we
Okay.
no, the
Yes.
has no fellowship with the untruthful
Can you
works of
please
darkness,
let him walk?
but rather expose them. He's talking about me. I'm not here to hate on you. I love you. I truly do. But I know right now you're walking your way to hell, but you don't realize it.
It's okay.
You're walking your way to hell. How do you know that? And do you respect that other people have different viewpoints and perspectives? And not only that, he's heard your message. He's heard you. You know, why the threat? Why does it always bottom out to a threat that God's going to do some spiritual violence to you if you don't give up your mind and give up your thinking out of fear and just believe? What is really virtuous about that, right? You know, the thing is, this encounter kind of reveals two different belief systems. It reveals two very different models of spiritual cognition. Like, one model says there is one truth for all people, and every other path must be corrected or eliminated. And the other model says there are many paths, many temperaments, and that our spiritual understanding unfolds for each person differently. When these two models meet, the conflict is not really about God or a Buddha, but about the structure of dualistic thinking itself. The idea that truth must be either or instead of just both and, right? Can be both and. That's the philosophical core. Christian evangelism historically has been, you know, if you have the wrong beliefs, you are spiritually endangered. And I, out of love, must fix that. Whereas a Buddhist monastic teaching, it's more like, if you suffer, I can show you how to end suffering if you ask. So these two approaches produce very different social behavior, if you think about it. You know, when a person attempts to save another from their beliefs, they're actually making a metaphysical claim about what counts as salvation and who needs rescuing. But to believe someone needs rescuing already kind of assumes that they cannot understand their own path, which is a form of superiority, of colonization, mental colonization. They're colonizers. So telling someone else what path they must walk is based on the assumption that you're not competent to walk your own path. You need me to point you to God's thoughts on this. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let me continue with this bullshit right here.
Hey,
Walk away. Wait,
we
hell.
okay?
No, these people crying.
Okay.
Lord, you going to hell, then.
Okay, if you're not okay with it, if you're not okay with it,
I love you too.
then you take care of yourself. I will take care of ours.
Hey, right.
With you every step of the way.
All right.
Every step of the
If
way.
that is
That's
your
the truth.
God is
if
called, I
that's
love
what you want
guys.
to do,
And I don't
can't be
want
out here
you guys
judging.
deceiving people. And you may not realize it, but you guys are deceiving people. You are.
No.
There's
You are
no peace somewhere. The
deceiving
only
people.
peace comes from peace.
are you at peace?
I'm at peace with Christ.
Really? You at peace?
Yes.
Okay.
When
Maybe
you
we
have
will
to
have
come
a
out here and
dis-
The monk asked him, "You have peace?" as if he didn't believe him because of the way he's behaving. The fact that he's arguing with him to stop marching about peace. I find that kind of ironic, don't you? I find it kind of weird that you're supposed to have a religion of peace following Jesus Christ, who was supposed to be about peace, but then again, he didn't come to bring peace, he came to bring a sword. So maybe that's the cherry-picked verse he'd rather stick with, that Jesus is more divisive than peaceful. Maybe that's the point he's making. I don't know.
All right. May you be well happy. There's a person asked me, how
Thank you,
can
Phyllis
I
Sober.
control my anger? How can I control my anger when I live in this society? So much hatred and so much problem going on, and I'm very easy to get anger to vent. Do we know how to control our anger?
I don't.
Basically, anger is within all of us. Everyone, we do have anger. It's just different levels. There are people that very easy to get angry, very fast, very quick. But there are people, they are mindful. It's not easy for them to get angry.
Yeah, being self-aware can temper your anger. And I think that these Christians that are so against this movement have an anger. They have an anger problem. They have a control issue. And like I say, control is one of the biggest sort of illusions that causes so much suffering, bias, cognitive dissonance, all of this kind of stuff, because we may not have really good reasons for why we even believe the things we do. We can't really articulate it, but we want people to agree. But even if you could articulate your beliefs and you're well versed in your beliefs, it still, to me, doesn't give you a license to force or try to influence your beliefs on others. You can share them. I have no problem. I have no problem with people who are abortion protesters, religious people come knocking at your door, holding up signs, doing what they do. I also don't have a problem with monks who want to do peace marches either. I can be consistent. Because at the end of the day, I am the one who decides what I believe and what I don't. You know what I'm saying? It's not important. It's not so important. You know, there's no need for control. Yeah, comment. You notice too, mathematicians never force 1 + 1 = 2 because deep down they don't feel need to control because it's simply true. Yes, exactly. When it comes to these beliefs, people have to use force and browbeating because deep down they know they have no proof of their beliefs. And I always say proof is for math and alcohol. It's not for beliefs. You can't prove your beliefs. That's why it's a belief. You know, we may mostly all engage in beliefs. I try not to engage in beliefs. I have conclusions, I have leanings, but they're tentative. I try to be a little humble in my approach regarding the things that I believe in, not because of pressure from anything external, but just from myself. Like I want to be a rational person to myself. I want to respect and love myself, which means I don't want to put myself in some sort of cognitive dissonance. Now, some of the things that I do conclude, other people won't agree with, and they'll think maybe I'm not seeing it correctly or whatever. And I'm fine with that. I don't get angry. But people who get angry about my conclusions or the way that I lean, I feel like those people have the problem. If they get really angry about it. I've never seen anybody really get angry about my you know, ideas and conclusions and all that. I've never seen that. I've seen people disagree with me, and that's fine, but I've never experienced anger like what I'm seeing with the Christian marches. I see a lot of anger with the Christians. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's because they sincerely believe that they're doing something wrong. You know, they're actually doing something very evil, which I find is really, really, really strange. You know, why do they have to feel like that? But here's more from this Christian. This is heralds for the king, and he's again at it.
Thank you that you thank me for preaching the gospel. Thank you. Now, don't just be a hearer of God's word, deceiving yourselves, but be a doer. Don't deceive yourself. Hearing the gospel.
What's your name, by the way? I didn't get your name.
Rashawn.
Roshan
Rashawn, yes, sir.
Panyakar.
Yes, sir. I've seen you. You're a celebrity.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I'm a monk.
But I'm trying to help you, man. There's only truth in one.
He's trying to help you, or he's already being dishonest. He's not trying to help you. He's out there with a bullhorn, shouting them down and trying to get people to move away from the movement of what they're doing. It's not trying to help you. Stop being a liar.
Name. Only one name, Jesus. Do you believe that? Yes or no?
Do you know that what you do and you pushing your members away? You know that?
No, I'm not pushing any members away by speaking.
Yes, you can be, because a lot of Christians are out there watching and supporting. And when you're out there shouting them down with a bullhorn, that's not a good look, bro. You know, that's kind of stupid, and it's not promoting peace. You're just exemplifying the very thing that they're marching for, which is this division, duality in our culture. They're trying to bring peace into our society They're trying to make us aware of that. And I think it's wonderful that someone is standing up and trying to make some sort of symbolic gesture. You know, because we can use our words, but we can also use our, you know, our physical body to march and to, you know, just do good things to other people even better. You know, this is how we teach peace, is through example. You know, but sitting there shouting people down with bullhorns, I'm not really sure what you seek to really accomplish besides pushing people away that are really into a more peaceful society. And I think most people want peace. I think most people want it. But we live in a very dualistic society. So it's very hard. We're influenced by dualism every day. This dichotomous thinking.
Teaching the truth. No way. I'm speaking the truth.
Because they are here just to listen to.
No.
to
If they're
something.
following Christ, they wouldn't be here. No chance. Unless they're here to
But
preach or share the gospel.
Yes.
Why do you have to expect them to follow one thing when they have nothing to do with Buddhism?
Well, no. There's only, Jesus said, John 14:6. He said, I am the singular, the way, the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Dichotomous thinking. As if your God is the only way for someone to find peace. You know, this is division. This is more division. And this is what a lot of religious people don't understand. From a non-dual perspective, insisting that only one path is true is itself the root of separation. The creation of us versus them, the saved versus the lost, the right versus the wrong. Ironically, that divisive mindset is the very thing religions claim to heal, yet they often reproduce it in their own methods of outreaching to people. It's a psychological contradiction, right? And it's bullshit, and it's so easy to see if you just really look at it.
The life. No man can come to the Father but by him. There's only one name. So if they're following him, they're not going to follow you. If they're following, listen, if they're following you, they're not going to come out here and support this. I mean, if they're following Christ, sorry.
Nobody follows.
If they're following Jesus, they're definitely following you. They followed you like a bunch of goats to your trailer.
You know what?
They idolize.
You know, now he's going to insult and say people follow you like a bunch of goats. It's just hilarious, man. It's just hilarious. And it's sad at the same time because this is what's plaguing our society. You know, this religious thinking. It's such bullshit. And I can't believe I used to be part of that shit, man. All in the name of virtue and peace and love and salvation, when nothing could be farther from it. You know, it's kind of the root of all evil. It's not money. The love of money, yeah, that can be a root of certain evils, but I think dichotomous thinking even more so.
People are not easy. People are not that easy.
No, people are very easily deceived. Look at most of these people who profess to be Christians. You don't even believe in Jesus, but they'll follow you.
Easy to be fooled.
People are very easily fooled, and these goats are perfect example.
All right.
Perfect example.
You'll be well, happy, and peaceful.
Turn to Jesus. See you next city. I'm good. I told you I won't take it.
You sure?
I'm positive.
You sure?
I'm positive. You got to turn to Jesus. There's no other name. There's no other name.
Okay. If I suffer in hell,
I don't want. Once again, I told you yesterday. I don't want you to go to hell.
Listen.
I don't want you to go to hell.
Let me talk first.
Go ahead.
If I have to go to hell,
Okay, you don't have to. Okay.
If I have to go to hell, that's gonna be in the future. But what right now, I'm seeing you.
When is the future? You could get hit by a car and die today.
That is the future.
I hope you don't, because I don't want you to go to hell.
Future.
So
yeah, he's missing the fucking point because he won't let him fucking talk. Because you're such a control freak, you can't let You're so fearful of the words that might come out of his mouth. You're so scared of what this man might tell you that might land a fucking point while you're just, you know, crying about your fear and the future and shit. We don't live in the future. Yeah, you could get hit by a car today. That's the future. What counts is right now. What are we doing right now? Fuck this whole afterlife bullshit. Buddhists don't believe in that shit. Not the traditional Buddhists or the secular Buddhists even. They don't believe in gods and after and all that fear-based bullshit. They believe in living in the present moment and finding peace in the present moment. And we're always living in the present moment. We're never in the future, are we? Even when now leaves, we're still in the present. Like there's never a future. That's just more thinking. It's more ruminating. And we all know that our mind's number one directive is to mislead us and cause fear. It's the basis of planning and goal making, and it has its place. But you don't create irrational fears of the future. How does that help you be peaceful in the moment? Worried about what's going to happen after I die. Number one, you don't know what's going to happen after you die. You don't know that. You may have beliefs, you may have conclusions about what may happen after you die based on everything you've ever learned about life and death and stuff like that. But no one really knows. So why worry about it? Why not focus on what we do have, which is the here and now? Like, this is very common sense. Like, to me, this is the root of non-dualism. That what's all here is right here in the present within your non-dual awareness. You know what I mean? Not all this, all of this fear and, what's going to happen to my soul when I die. What the fuck? You don't know. No one knows. Okay? So why worry about that shit?
You're
But right
assuming you
now-
have time.
But right now, this is the present moment right now.
Today is the day of salvation.
I don't want to see you like that. South and every day like that. I don't want to see you like that.
What do you mean?
Take some water.
No, I told you I'm good. God has given me the strength. See, you get your strength and peace from you. I get it from God.
Okay.
My peace will last forever.
Okay, you take care.
Turn to Jesus.
I love you.
See you next city. Turn to Jesus, my man.
That is so funny, man. So funny, yet so sad. I mean, and I agree. He said, I bet the real Jesus was here. He would chill out with the monks. Yeah, because who knows? It seemed like Jesus was against all the dualism in society. I examined something not long ago about, was Jesus' teachings really non-dualistic? And it seemed like in many cases it was, or it could be interpreted that way. I don't know. But it's just so interesting, not all spirituality is about converting others. Sometimes it's about liberating oneself. Like, the urge to correct others is often just a sign of your own fear, and you're not confident. You have no confidence. That's why they're out here urging and influencing and trying to browbeat others into their beliefs to agree with them. But, sometimes the most powerful teaching is to walk in peace without needing to win. Like this Buddhist guy just did. He walked away. He walked away in peace. He didn't engage in an argument, because that's what these people want. They want division and argument, and they don't want peace. Because it's never good enough. Even if you agree with them, they'll just be on to the next person. Who else can I convert over into my mind? They're never satisfied. Everyone has to agree with them. You know, if your faith requires the failure of other faiths, that's not a path, it's a competition. These monks didn't need to convince anyone. The walk was the teaching itself. You know, like duality says there can be only one truth, but non duality is asking, why not many paths to the same mountain? You know what I'm saying? Why can't you just be an atheist and have no beliefs in religions or whatever? Right? Why not? Can that also be a path? Can that be a life journey? Sure. Everyone finds their own path and journey, but to be angry that other people have their own paths and journeys is just a sign of weakness. It's a sign of insecurity. You know what I mean? It's really kind of sad in a way that that's the psychological state that most of us in this country live in. We need people to agree. And yeah, it's just a lot of bullshit, man. And you know, I have a few minutes. If someone wants to come on stage and share their thoughts, I'm going to post up a link right here because I want to be a little interactive this morning. I can't do this too long because I've got to, you know, prepare for work and stuff like that. But I try to get these things in. So yeah, if you want to come on stage, share any thoughts about that, I'll keep it open for you. There's the live backstage link right there. But what do you think? Are you a Christian? What are your thoughts about the monks in the walk for peace? What are your thoughts about non-duality? That there can be many different paths to peace. What do you think about that? I mean, most atheists, in my opinion, don't have a problem with Buddhist or peace walks or anything like that. It's usually religious people that have these sort of knee-jerk reactions like, how dare they? People who follow them, you're following them right to hell. You know, you get that kind of language and attitude from more religious kind of people. But again, not all, because most people that probably witness these and endorse these Buddhists are probably Christians themselves. Because I don't think most Christians take their religion all that serious like that, in my experience. Most Christians just are living their life like anybody else. They're not really thinking about all this kind of stuff, not deeply. It's these, you know, these very zealous types, you know, these people that have some kind of, for me, they just have some kind of screw loose, like they're living in the dark ages or something. And they feel like people should be punished for their unbelief, or they should be browbeaten into submission so that they can believe. It's a sport for them. It's a competition. And it's all based in this kind of fear-based thinking and stuff, right? What do you think? Are you an atheist that are against the peace walk? I'd like to hear from you too. I don't think there'll be many to do that, but anybody want to share thoughts? Come on stage, man. I got a few minutes to discuss it, but it's just really it's really interesting how this stuff is, you know, that we live in such a society that really just you know, we promote that. We promote our, you know, in fact, the algorithm, I was talking about this the other day with Mr. Biscuit Speaks, is that the internet algorithms and stuff like that, they sort of reward um, divisions and tensions and stuff like that. People like that. Even if you want to promote like a YouTube thumbnail adequately for SEO purposes, it needs to be engaging. And what that means is it needs to be challenging. It needs to be, and people like that. I'm not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with debating ideas or exploring the tensions between ideas, because that's basically what I'm doing here. But I guess my message at the end of the day and all my stuff is always to promote, tolerance and peace and stuff like that, understanding. We can question assumptions about beliefs and things, but at the end of the day, it's just an exploration. It's just a way to be critically thinking and promote critical thinking, because that's a protection and it can lead to a peaceful life when you don't take things out of balance and go too far with your beliefs and stuff. Because you have to understand, they are beliefs. They are just ideas. They're models, hypotheses, whatever you want to call them. And so when you take it too serious, you can actually lose your peace of mind. You become very divisive and you become like an activist of some sort. And, depending on what your values are, you probably should be an activist in some ways. But I think that you can be also balanced and just also keep like a higher perspective view on life, and understand that not everyone's going to agree with you. Understand that. If you think that when you get in these conversations or debates or do these sort of things, if your expectation is that you're going to convert even one person, you're sadly mistaken. That's not what's going to happen. I would detach from any sort of expectation when it comes to people agreeing with you. You can express yourself, and yeah, there's always a possibility somebody can resonate with your message and resonate with what you're saying and all of that. But to expect people are going to bend the knee to you and believe you off the strength of your argument and your, logic or whatever, that's not what motivates people. In fact, the better arguments you lodge against people, the more they're likely to dig their heels in. They'll just argue against you stronger or harder, or they'll run away from you, one or the other. Usually people don't concede because they identify emotionally with their belief systems. When you attack their beliefs, you're attacking them. You know what I mean? And this is like the root of dichotomous thinking and dualism in the world. People identify and attach themselves. And all of these are Buddhist teachings, in fact. It's not just atheist sort of thinking. This is also Buddhist thinking, too, that people get attached to their beliefs too much. And it causes them cognitive dissonance sometimes. It causes them a lot of strife within themselves and with others and with family and all of this kind of stuff. Not just religion, politics, all of that shit. It's just a way to foster outrage. You heard us so much about us living in an outrage culture because, the algorithm rewards that shit. That's what they know works. Outrage works because we are emotional creatures. That's the first thing. We respond mainly to what taps into our emotions. When I trained for sales, the number one thing I trained for was how the human mind works, and how if you really want to sell some high-end product, you really have to work on that emotional centers, man. It's not just about the sense you're making. You can tie that in, and it's important to tie it in. It helps. But first of all, you need to understand that the reptilian mind is real. Like it's the kind of motivator through emotion, through fear. Mainly fear is the big one. Fear is the big one. The fear of missing out on something, the fear of not being included in something. You know, this sort of fear, you know, plays well when you want to sell something, how to get someone to make that impulse buy, appeal to their feeling, and also appeal to other feelings at the same time. How would it make you feel to have this property? Show all your friends this item. You know, this, you'll be the man if you have this, you know. Appealing to people's desire to impress people that don't even like them anyways. I want to impress my enemies. I want to impress my friends. I want to impress my wife, or I want to get men or women or whatever based on this item. It makes me look great. It makes me look rich, or it makes me excel in the eyes of others. You know, and they appeal to that feeling, that driver right there. And then also the fear part, you know, and you'll, you know, think about it. If you don't have some vacation property, you're losing all this money every year. When you go on vacation, you're spending hundreds of dollars on airplane tickets or gas money to drive, and hotel expenses are so expensive. And then food and lodging and all these other factors add up. You're spending, think about all the money you're losing when you could buy this package deal right here for only $1,000 a month or $300 a month. You know, you need to, first of all, you know, let's look at your vacationing, for example. Let's say you're selling like some kind of timeshare or something like that. They'll say, you know, number one, you need to go on vacation more. People live their whole lives without getting away and doing things. They live their life to work and to stress and all of this. So, and your life is just leaving, you know, you have nothing but a limited amount of time. And you're not bonding with your wife, you're not bonding with your family, you're not making family first when you're just working all the time. You need to at least take 2 or 3 vacations a year. But think about how much 2 or 3 vacations a year would cost you when you factor in airline tickets and hotel expenses, motel, and what are you getting? What kind of hotel? What kind of motel? If you really want something nice, it'll be this, you know, it'll cost this much, you know. So you're just always tapping into their emotional centers when it comes to sales. And it's the same thing with religion. You're selling them a concept or an idea. And believe me, the churches, they want your money. They want your money. Don't be a fool. It's a business. It's bigger than AT&T, man. Religion is a huge business. I mean, think about that shit, man. Think about how much money these churches make. And then they don't even pay taxes. You know, these people are making hand over fist. How many times do you see these rich preachers and ministers in trouble for conning people out of their money, and how they live in these extravagant mansions and private jets, and they always need more money from you. They always need more. How are they going to get that money if they don't become good salespeople, good entertainers? How are they really going to do that? They're going to have to go into your fear centers. And this is where dualism is really effective. Us against them, this against that. You know, this is their leverage points. And this is why they get over on people. This is why you are giving all your money to the fucking church, or why you're donating to these religious people, because they've convinced you through fear. You're just scared of God, aren't you? You're scared he's going to do some physical violence against you in the afterlife, spiritual violence or whatever. Fear, dichotomy. That's not peace. Peace is in the present. You're always living in the present. You're never living after you die. You're never living, if you're living in the past, you're living in a delusion, and it's causing you a lot of unrest and stuff. Same with future thinking. You're fearful about your afterlife. Bullshit. Live in the moment. Be a peaceful person now. That's what the monks were talking about, man. They weren't talking about, fear and hellfire and stuff. That's what the Christians that were shouting them down and browbeating them, that's what that shit was all about, man. And it's really funny, man, that people fall for that shit. But it's not funny. It's actually sad, because you have to understand, we humans, we operate that way. Our brains evolved to spot dangers and to react to the environment in a protective way, to be defensive. So we protect the ego, the self. This is important for survival reasons, right? It's fitness payoffs or whatever. But this stuff is exploited by religions and stuff to promote this kind of fear-based teaching. And it's just really sad, man. It's really sad. But I just wanted to highlight all of that stuff, man. I hope that it landed well with you. Don't fall for the okie doke, folks, man. Don't fall for that fear-based shit, man. We can be a better society, better country. We just gotta, get out of the bullshit, man. Because these Christian type motherfuckers, they don't preach peace. Yes, I'm preaching right now. That's right. But yeah, man, like and subscribe. Join me every Saturday at noon. We open the stage. We usually have a lot of fun. People participate, and we can talk about all kinds of stuff. We'll be doing video reactions and things of that nature. And it's all interactive. So join me, man. We have a good time, and y'all be good. I'm out.